So a few years ago, I made a video where I cut out half of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster, which at the time was around 41 characters, and someone left a comment on that video I made saying that I should try adding 41 characters as its own video. And I decided, you know what, that's a great idea, I'm going to do that, but instead of adding 41, I figured I'd round it up to make it an even 50. So here's my video where I add 50 characters to Smash Brothers. Got my fair share of first-party characters as well as third-party characters, but then also I sprinkled in a few gag characters that seem entirely unrealistic. But for the most part, I tried to pick characters that I think would at least have a relative chance of getting added. At this point with Smash, let's be honest, anyone could be added. So let's just get into it. The first person I want to show is Waluigi. Now look, obviously, Waluigi has been wanted in Smash for a very long time. You know, thinking back now, I never really had any good reason for wanting Waluigi in. I don't even think there's particularly an interesting moveset. I don't think he's a particularly interesting character. But if you get this far into Smash and you don't add Waluigi, and meanwhile we got things like Piranha Plant and all these other third-party characters, it feels weird. Like, come on, if you're gonna include Tekken, before you enter the rounds of Tekken, I feel like you got to include Waluigi, right? So just for principle alone, get Waluigi in there. Come on, the people want him. He's part of the Mario crew. He's the last one. Just add him. The next one is QBert. Way the heck over here. You might be like, Pat, why is he way over here? I put all these characters on here, made them line up. It was very, very difficult. That's why there's no order to whatever I'm doing here. QBert, I did consider a gag character. I don't think it'd be likely to have QBert in. I've never played the QBert game. There's not a ton to the QBert character, but by golly, if you could have a recognizable arcade face such as QBert, I feel like it's at least relatively possible. Smash has done crazier things, right? We can have QBert. No idea what his moveset would be. They'd probably have to take a lot of creative liberties if they're even allowed to do so. But what the heck, let's add QBert. Look, I gotta add 50 of them, okay? It became very difficult to come up with characters around the end. Let's move on. Next up is the Knight. Now, the Knight, if you guys don't know, is from Hollow Knight. No, this isn't actually Hollow Knight. This is the Knight. If you want to know who Hollow Knight is, you gotta actually play the game yourself. But the Knight, this is definitely a serious choice for me. It's someone I would absolutely love for them to include in Smash Brothers. In general, there hasn't been a ton of indie game support, if any, really, with the Smash Brothers roster. I'm struggling to think of a single indie game representative, I guess, other than Steve, if that even really counts as indie at this point. I don't know. But honestly, with just how much inspiration Hollow Knight draws from Nintendo games in general to make its games, I feel like Hollow Knight would be a perfect fit in the I feel the Knight would be a perfect fit in the Smash Brothers universe. A better fit than some of the other characters that are already in there, right? Also, he just kind of lends himself to a fighting game moveset because he's already got so many ways of maneuvering and attacking, and it would be pretty easy to translate that over to Smash. One thing that would be pretty cool is if they added with this character, because Hollow Knight was all hand-drawn, I would love to see a two-dimensional hand-drawn Hollow Knight added, similar to Game & Watch, but again, hand-drawn. I think if they could get the artist to draw out all the animations for it, that'd be absolutely perfect. It's a lot to ask for, but if someone's gonna invite your character to Smash, I feel like you're like, oh shoot, I gotta hand draw the stuff. You know, I'm gonna do whatever they ask me to do. So Smash, if you do ever add him, get those hand drawn animations. It'd be super cool. Also, if you make it into a 3D model, I won't be sad. Honestly, I'll probably be like, shoot, yeah, I agree, it's good. You know, whatever you do with it, Hollow Knight fits, basically. Not Hollow Knight, the Knight. Dang it. Up next, this might be gag character territory, but I want the guy from Terraria. Any guy from Terraria. They could honestly even just go with like a merchant skin or something, one of the people who live in your houses, because like there's not a ton of recognizable characters in Terraria. It's all pretty much, you know, you make it yourself. I think this is the skin of the guide per se, which you could even bring in the guide as the character, you know. I think that'd be okay. This is kind of a gag character because it's a little bit outside of Nintendo's wheelhouse, but at the same time, Terraria is a rather influential game, especially in the indie game world. And I think at this point, with the state that Smash is in, maybe you could squeeze in a Terraria guy. I don't know how they would mess with pixelization. I don't know if they probably couldn't make it 3D. I don't imagine that being great. But with regards to moveset, there's tons of stuff you can do with a Terraria moveset. I mean, there's literally countless items in the game. If you added Minecraft Steve at this point, I don't think it's super far off to add Terraria Guy. Still a little bit of a stretch though. I will give it that. It is a stretch. Next up is Mumbo Jumbo. Let me just double check real quick. That's his name, right? Yes, Mumbo Jumbo from Banjo-Kazooie. Look, I'm a big fan of Banjo being in Smash, even though there's a high chance Banjo won't return in the next Smash Brothers game. if for whatever reason they want to add more Banjo characters, I feel like it'd be interesting to choose Mumbo because he has some magic abilities in a sense. He's not much of a fighter, so it's a little bit of a stretch to find a traditional moveset for him. But I think you could go a little bit funky and maybe have some fun with it. Might be a character I never play because I typically stay away from the funky ones. But hey, I would love to see some Mumbo Jumbo represented in it. There's not a lot of other Banjo reps that I would particularly request, but Mumbo just seems like kind of a cool character in general. So there you go. Mumbo Jumbo. Next up is a character that is absolutely not a gag character, and that's Bomberman. I understand that licensing with Bomberman's a little bit tough right now, as Hudson Soft has been dissolved, and now I think it's technically owned. I don't know if it was like Activision or something like that, but basically it's a big enough company where Nintendo might not want to use one of their IPs, so this is not incredibly likely, but also they did have a Bomberman Mii costume in Smash, so all you gotta do really is just fix some of the proportions and then add a moveset and you're good. You got the model. If you got the model, you might as well have the character, right? If they were to actually add Bomberman as a real character, I would definitely be down. I like Bomberman games, and I think he's a cool enough character to be seen on the selection screen and have people think, you know what? I want to try out that character. That character right there amongst the 80, the other, like, well, at this point, it's going to be like the other 130 or something. I want to be that character. I just think he's interesting enough to do it. You got bombs, you can make a moveset with that. Come on, he's already been an assist trophy too at some point, so you might as well have Bomberman at this point. Come on, just add Bomberman. Next up is Shovel Knight. Now, Shovel Knight, it's honestly a crime that Shovel Knight has not been in the game already. Obviously, Shovel Knight is already an assistant trophy, and there's going to be a lot of assistant trophies that appear in here, I guess as a spoiler, but Shovel Knight has definitely earned the ranks to be in a Nintendo game. The Shovel Knight Nintendo's been like this, okay? They've been like this whole time. I mean, they even made a Shovel Knight amiibo. What says I belong in Smash more than an amiibo? Like, come on. Smash Bros. Invented the amiibos. Add Shovel Knight. Okay, put Shovel Knight in the game. It's disrespectful to keep having him as an assist trophy, okay? Also, I think there's enough character to Shovel Knight to be like, hey, you belong here in the ranks, which is why he's set up right next to the knight. That was actually coincidental. Put two knights right next to each other. Look at that. Now, next up, this is one that probably a lot of people agree with, but Rayman. It's actually kind of strange to me that Rayman hasn't been added yet already. Ubisoft and Nintendo have kind of been like on goody two-shoes with each other for a while. But Rayman also just kind of has this almost Nintendo adjacent charm to it, to where I think Rayman would actually fit in very well with the other characters. And of course, anytime you have a side-scrolling platformer, you're going to have movesets that aid itself to a side-scrolling fighting game. I would find it interesting if they could rig it in a way where his limbs actually don't have hitboxes. If you have to hit either his feet or his hands, I think that would be very fascinating to see a strength in the hitbox form with that. Or maybe it would be too confusing for competitive Smash play. I don't know. But either way, Rayman, come on. Let's let him in. Next up is Cuphead. You're going to see a little bit of a trend here going on with the third party, like, why aren't you theirs? But honestly, Cuphead would be a great addition. This one's a little bit more far-fetched. Cuphead is kind of a more recent thing. And as great as Cuphead is, and the game Cuphead is as well, it hasn't really had a chance to have as much of a industry-wide impact as some of the other characters that are in Smash, which is the only thing that really makes Cuphead a tough sell as of right now. But ultimately, they do have a Mii costume for Cuphead, and I just feel like if you got the Mii costume, then come on, just add a couple moves. I mean, I know it's actually a ton of work, but add a couple moves. Cuphead. What more you want me to say? All of these characters are ending with me saying, like, it's absolutely obvious they should add these characters when I'm literally asking them to add 50, as if any of this should be obvious in any other circumstance. Anyway, let's add the next character, which is Sans. This one's a bit of a gag character, not gonna lie. All right, look, here's the deal. I actually wasn't really asking for Sans to be in Smash when other people were. I don't, like, Sans is a cool character and stuff like that. I just didn't feel the urge for him to be represented. He's not even really a fighter. He just kind of has a weird nebula of two-dimensional beams and stuff that attack you. I just didn't feel the need to have Sans in Smash. But then things changed when they add the Sans Mii costume. Again, if you're going to go that far, you might as well add the character. If I'm adding 50 anyway, might as well include some of the Mii fighters. But also, it's worth noting that Toby Fox played Smash with Sakurai himself. Sakurai invited Toby Fox over to play Smash Brothers. If you win the key to Sakurai's heart, you deserve to have your character put in the game. Why Sans specifically? I don't know. They already made the animation, I guess. I don't really think you want to play as a kid killing each other unless you play a genocide kid. But that gets a little bit not safe for Smash Brothers, as they say. So Sans it is. Sans it is. It makes sense. It makes sense if you go down this rabbit hole of adding Undertale characters. Next character. The next character, honestly, is one of the characters I want the most in Smash Brothers, just because I feel like it's absolutely time he's added with the current state of where Ultimate is. But Crash Bandicoot. But you know, Crash Bandicoot he's one of the most iconic video game characters of the early 3D gaming eras. And since Smash has already added so many of those characters, like Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong, and Mario, and other 3D characters, it just makes sense for them to add something like Crash. Moveset, come on, it could be a basic one. He has a spin attack, maybe a dash or something like that. You know, I don't even play a ton of Crash Bandicoot games. I wasn't a PlayStation kid, but even I recognize it's high time that Crash gets in the game. If no other character on this list gets added, they really need to add Crash. And of course, the next one, which I'll show. Basically, they need to add Crash, and they absolutely also need to add Spyro. They just get them both in there. Just get the top two most recognizable PlayStation IPs and put them in the video game celebration games. Nintendo aside and PlayStation aside, this is now a video game celebration of a video game impact, and that's the kind of characters they're pulling from now. At this point, if you're gonna go as far as just keep adding Fire Emblem characters, you might as well add something like Crash and or Spyro. If they only add one of them, I'll probably still be satisfied. It's a no-brainer. These two are the most no-brainer out of every characters I'm going to show. And they're third-party characters, so they're still no-brainer. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. All right. We're going to get a little weird with this one, okay? But hear me out. Lego Guy. I don't even really know which Lego Guy they should go with. They should go with a Lego Guy. Now, here's the deal. You might be thinking, Pat, what the heck? That's not even video game related. Well, the character in this, I forget his actual name, but the character in this is a Lego Guy, and he's the star of Lego City Undercover, which Nintendo was pretty heavily promoting when the Wii U was first launching. Remember the Wii U? The truth is, though, is that Lego has had plenty of games on Nintendo systems before, and really defined their own kind of genre. I mean, Lego Star Wars, Lego Batman, Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, Lego Lord of the Rings. This is an entire genre of gaming that kids today still buy. And they still love, and I still love. I loved playing Lego Star Wars any chance I get, you know? Obviously, having a Star Wars character in the Smash Brothers universe is not only super unlikely, but also very tricky. But if you take something that's entirely from Lego itself, like Lego City Undercover, then I'll be happy. I just want some kind of minifigure representation, as well as maybe some ways to incorporate classic Lego gameplay into moves. But Lego really is a huge genre on Nintendo systems, and if we're celebrating video game history, it seems not too far-fetched for me to ask for a Lego character. It is a little far-fetched, but not too far-fetched. Still a gag character, though. Right now, this image is looking so bad. The characters are just entirely spread out from each other. But I'm sorry, there's so many characters, though. Like, just forgive me, please, okay? It'll look at least okay when they're all revealed. Speaking of revealed, the next one I'm going to reveal is Dixie Kong. I'm pretty sure Dixie Kong was going to be in Smash Bros. Brawl at some point, and then was cut for whatever reason. And the fact that they've gone 2 games without re-adding her is very strange to me, especially with the success of the Donkey Kong Country Returns series. I guess theoretically, if you wanted, you could make it not necessarily an Echo Fighter, but an Echo Fighter of Diddy Kong, with maybe a couple of moves swapped out, similar to what they did with Villager and Isabelle. Because I feel like Villager and Isabelle are different enough to excuse their similarities, but I want more changes than just an Echo Fighter. I feel like Dixie Kong deserves that. Wouldn't make sense if Dixie Kong was using a jetpack. That's Diddy Kong's thing. You know what I'm saying? But you could keep some similar and make some changes. Dixie Kong, get her in the game. It's time. Dixie Kong. It's in the game. It's not in the game, but it should be in the game. And next up is going to get a little bit weird again, but Dig Dug. Yes, Dig Dug. I should mention that this 3D model of Dig Dug is not actually from a game. It is from a Smash Brothers fan character wiki, which I didn't know existed until now, but they already made a very excellent render of a 3D Dig Dug. And I think it would work great. If you wanted to go with 2D Dig Dug, I'd probably be okay with that too. I don't mind having 2D characters amongst 3D ones. But basically the reason I was thinking of Dig Dug is just because I understand that Namco helps develop these Smash Brothers games now, and I think it would be cool to just have more Namco representation other than Pac-Man. I was thinking possibly Mappy for a second, and I was like, I really don't like the game Mappy, and I really like the game Dig Dug, and I think there could be some interesting movesets for sure. Obviously, in the model, he has a drill, but he also, of course, has the hose that puffs people up. I don't know how that would work with other characters. I don't know if he would puff people up or they just expand or something like that, but at some point, he'd use the hose, I'm guessing, and I would be down to play as Dig Dug. It's an iconic arcade game, and I don't think it's super off-the-wall crazy in terms of Namco actually helping make Smash Brothers. So, there you go. And next up is Krystal from Star Fox. Now, Krystal is probably a little bit out of fashion, and that's primarily because the entire Star Fox series has been out of fashion since Star Fox Zero. It has been a while since there's been a Star Fox game, and it's been a while since there's been a Star Fox game that people really, really liked and didn't feel clunky as all get out. Of course, she was also an Assault, and this is her Assault attire, but she also had more of a combat-focused presence in Assault specifically, so using things like the grenade that she holds in your hand, but of course some of the maybe the guns like the weaponry, but I think honestly what screams Krystal more than using Krystal's staff, which even though Fox used primarily in Adventures, it'd be really cool to see the staff make an appearance some way, and having Krystal use the staff, it would make a lot of sense, right? I think Krystal was actually an assistant trophy, so it's not super far off to just put her in the game. And I think it'd be really cool to have another Star Fox representative that's not derivative of the moveset of the Star Fox characters, the Spaceys, as you say. So I'm all for Krystal. Honestly, it's not super important to me that she gets added, but if you're going to add a Star Fox character, you might as well add Krystal is what I'm saying. Next up, we got Knuckle Jo, another assist trophy. Like I said, I'm not holding any punches with the assist trophies this time. Knuckle Jo is someone from Kirby, and that's all I really know about him. But I also know that he punches people, and you could make a moveset with punching people, just like a smaller version of Little Mac, I guess. I was trying to think of different Kirby reps they could add. Frankly, my Kirby game knowledge is kind of low, but anytime I see someone who's already in Smash Brothers as like an assist trophy or a Pokemon or something like that, I feel like it's just it kind of makes sense, because I know about Knuckle Jo a lot more through Smash Brothers than I do from Kirby, so why not just put him in Smash Brothers? You know what I mean? I also just like his character design. I think it's kind of neat. It'd be kind of interesting to have such a fast-paced brawler, but in the size of like Kirby, similar to how Meta Knight was a fast-paced sword fighter in the size of Kirby. Then make it a brawler instead of sword fighter. I think it'd be interesting, to say the least. Next up is Samurai Goroh, yet another assist trophy. I didn't mean to reveal all the assist trophies like next to each other, but I guess that's how the cookie crumbles. Samurai Goroh is someone from F-Zero, again, a game I'm not entirely familiar with. I played a lot of the original, and I saw Samurai Goroh's ship, and that's all the information they needed for Captain Falcon, so why not just put Samurai Goroh in? Look, he's an assist trophy. He has a very bombastic personality. He has cutscenes in the GameCube game, which are just golden to look at, mainly because the voice acting is absolutely amazing in a horrible way. You absolutely do not want this guy to be an Echo Fighter of Captain Falcon. That would just be stupid. Make a whole new moveset for this guy and make it cool. Please, right now, I'm your boss, Sakurai, and you have to do what I say. Anyway, next up, I'd like to introduce another character who might be an assist trophy. I actually don't know, but it's also from a series that I know very, very little of and never played a game of, but Chibi Robo. I mean, look, when you're adding 50 characters, you start looking for just cool character designs who could have a cool moveset as well. Chibi Robo hits both of those descriptions. I think you could do a lot with that tail. In fact, you could probably make every move revolve around the tail. Something with electricity, you stab the guy, I don't know, wrap it around and you strangle him by wrapping the cord around his neck or something like that. That's obviously not too graphic for Smash Bros. I think you could get away with it. But also, you could maybe plug himself in to like charge up his electricity if you want to go super fancy, or it could be someone as basic as like Pikachu, but a little bit bigger and a little bit more tankier while still being a tiny dude. So there you go. Chibi Robo could work. I'd like to see him. Next up is Isaac. Now, obviously, look at this. Look at how many assist trophies I put right next to each other. I swear it wasn't purposeful. But Isaac would be kind of neat because He has a hand, a gold hand, and that's really all I know about Isaac. I know the Sin and Punishment game, okay, and I played one of them on the Wii. It was not very fun, and I don't think Isaac was in it, or at the very least, you didn't play as Isaac, so I lost a lot of interest. But I've seen Isaac in Smash Bros. As an assist trophy since Brawl, and heck, he's got a sword apparently. You could use a sword. I think this is also from a 3D render from the Smash Bros. Fan Wiki. You can check that out if you'd like to see these other renders. I think video game has some kind of industry impact. I don't really know for sure. I'm adding 50 characters, okay? Leave me alone. It's hard to come up with these. They've already added so many. I was really scraping the barrel for some. Anyway, let's move on. I've got a much more disgusting entry, which is Pigma, the backstabbing character who threw a wrench and everything and pretty much got James McCloud killed. There's your Star Fox lore for the day. The reason I was thinking Pigma is just because, again, kind of an interesting looking character, but also I get kind of K. Rool vibes from him, and I love myself some K. Rool. Just because he's got this like, yeah, I'm myself, I know it, I don't care, it's more of me to love, unapologetically himself personality to him, and that's enough personality to be a character in Smash, if you ask me. With regards to moveset, kinda, you're gonna have to think about that one for a while. I really don't know what you would do with the Pigma moveset. I honestly don't, but if you could figure it out, then by golly, you could figure it out. Hats off to you, Sakurai, for figuring out and fulfilling all of my requests. Let's go on to the next character. Something, 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 something. Everyone knows I'm the greatest, Ashley. Okay, listen, I don't know the song very well, but I do know the song a little bit, and it's in Smash Brothers, and they should just add Ashley to Smash Brothers. Again, another assistant trophy right next to all the other assistant trophies. How did this happen? I drag and dropped, then picked them based off of size. I don't know how they all ended up next to each other, and I didn't even do a great job with size, so I don't know. Ashley, though, I don't know anything about Ashley. I'm honestly not even going to talk about her that much, but I know that she is a cool-looking character from the WarioWare series, and I like the WarioWare series, so it'd be cool to add her, and she will not be the only WarioWare rep that I talk about, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. It's no secret that Mega Man is a pretty influential character, both in just visual recognition, but also in industry impact. And I think it'd be cool to represent more characters from the Mega Man series, which is why I chose to represent Zero. Did you see where he popped up? He popped up right here, okay? That's him, right next to Ashley. Is Ashley that much bigger than Zero? Probably not. He's definitely got style, he's got hip, and he's got a moveset, and he's recognizable. I'm fine with him in Smash, okay? Let's make it happen. Not the worst of the 50 characters that I chose, all right? He's got to be at least in consideration with at least one person working with Smash Brothers at some point. I don't know. Tingle. Everyone's asked for Tingle in Smash, right? Listen. 50 characters, okay? I'd like to see you try. It's very, very difficult. Tingle can have a moveset, sure. Sure, he's got a recovery. That's all you need in a moveset, right? A balloon. That's all I got. He could write a map, I guess. He can Loompa. Okay. They could have a moveset that's a little bit more, I guess, theatrical, you know? Very much presenting himself. He does the twirls and stuff, the confetti. Like, you could make a moveset out of that. I think it'd be a very interesting character. Who knows what Tingle does in the Rupee Land Japanese exclusive Tingle game, but heck, you could pull some inspiration from there, maybe. Throws rupees at people. I don't know. Actually, that's not bad. Throws rupees at people. Why not? You know what? I'm not ashamed. I think they should add Tingle in Smash. There you go. Enough said. Now, another character I'm not entirely familiar with, but I am a little bit familiar with, is Geno. And I understand that the fans have actually really wanted Geno for a while. I think this render, again, is from the Smash Brothers fan character wiki. But the reason I picked Geno is because I actually really like Super Mario RPG. I would like something in general to be represented from Super Mario RPG, and just given how many of the fans want Geno and how disappointed they were to find his Wii costume, I think it would be really cool if they added Geno. Okay? That's what I'm going to say. Next up is King Boo. This is a character I think could actually have a very interesting moveset. Now, King Boo has been in a lot of Mario games, but Boo is also the lead villain in the Luigi's Mansion series, and I think if they're going to put King Boo in, they should go with the Luigi's Mansion attire, because look at how just baller he looks there. You could have a lot of really cool moves. The first thing I'm kind of excited about is the idea that he's moving elevated on the ground. You could still work with jumping and whatnot, similar to Kirby, where maybe he can fly up or have a lot more jumps than usual or something like that. But I like the idea of him just being elevated off the ground. I don't think many Smash Brothers characters have gone to that extent with regards to elevation. Also with moveset, you could definitely do some cool things like teleporting behind people or licking people. That's obviously the common one. But of course, King Boo also got a lot of bombs in Luigi's Mansion. You can throw bombs at people, ram his crown into them maybe. But either way, I think King Boo is a really cool character. And at this point, yeah, let's add him in. If we're adding 50 characters, King Boo definitely stands a chance. So there you go. We're a little bit right side heavy. Hopefully the next characters are on the left side. Bam Bam and Pom Pom. Nope. Still right side heavy. Bam Bam and Pom Pom. Now look, these, you can either go Echo, or honestly, you could even go different costume changes. I'm okay with it either way, honestly. But these guys have been showing up in more Mario games recently, and they're okay, you know, they're fine, but they have enough variance in them to have their own kind of moveset, right? I think one thing that's unfortunate about the Koopa kids that they added with regards to Baby Bowser, you know, Morton, Iggy, Izzy, Whammy, Rudolph, Red-Nosed Reindeer kind of guys, they're all stuck inside of the Happy Face copter, which really changes what their moveset could be, right? Everything in their moveset revolves around that. But having the more brawler type characters such as Bam Bam and Pom Pom might be kind of neat, because you can experiment with movesets even though they similarly look like Koopa adjacent stuff. You could actually see Koopa based moves because they're all on the ground, right? Be kind of neat, you know, spinning in their shells and stuff like that, similar to Squirtle, but just bigger versions of Squirtle, basically. Echoes or costume changes. But if you could add Bam Bam and Pom Pom, I'd be down for it, you know? Definitely in that 50 character range. I think we are thankfully about halfway done. Wolf Link and Midna is the next one. I have been asking for these guys since after Brawl came out, since after I first played Twilight Princess. I just think the characters themselves are so cool. They're both really cool characters to add to a game. Obviously, you know, personality-wise, Wolf Link doesn't really have any, but their movesets would be really fascinating. Unlike any other character in Smash, we don't have a lot of beast-like characters in Smash to begin with. The most similar things are like Bowser from the Melee days, where he's more crouched down and stuff like that, or maybe Donkey Kong. But to go full-on beast mode and add Wolf Link and Midna, both characters are pretty darn cool, right? I'd be all for it. Midna could use her hand to interact with certain things. Maybe that's the grab. But also, Wolf Link uses the dash attack where you lock on to several people. I'd love to see a Smash Brothers version of that lock on, where you see a sphere happen and people get selected and then he zips past between them. And at this point, when you have so many different moves in Smash Brothers, even visual stimuli starts to speak volumes. So I would love to have Wolf Link represented. Cool characters, and could have a very cool moveset. And yeah, there you go. And then next up, we got something a little bit more obscure, but I still don't think gag character territory. Rhydon. Now, you might be wondering, of all Pokemon, Pat, well, first of all, you might be wondering, why are you adding more Pokemon when there's already so many? Look, if we're adding 50 characters to Smash, it's okay if some of them are Pokemon and Fire Emblem, okay? It's fine. It's okay. Like, they're gonna add Pokemon. It's gonna happen, right? I might as well just help dictate what those Pokemon are gonna be. In this case, I chose Rhydon. I'm in general a fan of heavy characters, and you know, Rhydon just seems like an interesting enough character to where his moveset might be cool, but also keep it relatively simpler. I understand that Pokemon can oftentimes get away from the simpler route. It'd be cool to see a more simpler Pokemon that just takes a tanky approach. Why Rhydon specifically? Well, Rhydon actually has a little bit of significance in the sense that he was the first Pokemon ever designed, back before Pokemon was even a thing, right? That's pretty much the only interesting thing about him. But hey, he would have a cool structure. He could drill people, I suppose. He could use his drill nose to attack people, and maybe have some tail swings and stuff like that. You could work with him pretty easily. Don't have to go super fancy. I'd be okay with Rhydon in Smash. Next up, we got Jak and Daxter, but it's actually just one character. Jak and Daxter working together, similar to Banjo and Kazooie. Like I said earlier, Crash and Spyro, they're both my PlayStation reps that I wish would get in. Going to Jak and Daxter is stretching it a little bit. They've been more out of fashion as of late, and even just in people remembering games, I hear them being brought up a lot less. But I've played some of the Jak and Daxter games, and they definitely fit that level of Nintendo charm, and especially enough to be included in a Smash Brothers roster. With regards to moveset, there's a lot of interesting things you could do with a anthropomorphic brawling style character, but also has a buddy similar to Banjo, right? But also, Jak has changed his appearance quite a bit over the games, and I think it'd be kind of cool to represent different costume changes from Jak 1, Jak 2, and Jak 3, possibly. Might be kind of neat. Next up, we got a Zora. Now, look, listen. The Zora I have here, I think his name is Gideon or something like that. Ooh, he tall. I don't think he's supposed to be that tall when I look at it now. But look, it doesn't have to be Gideon specifically. I don't really care which Zora it is. Heck, it could even just be a nameless Zora. I'm okay with having some nameless characters, given that they changed specific characters so many times in the Zelda franchise. The Breath of the Wild Zoras do look pretty dope. I don't mind having Gideon specifically as a character, but I think you could do some interesting things with movesets. You know, you could think of their movesets being similar to that of the Zora mask in Majora's Mask, where we had the blades at the fin blades, essentially, and it created a little bit of a different style of attacking. I'd like to see some of that represented in a Zora character, but also you could do something about like swimming in the air or something like that. I don't fully know how that would work. Maybe adding a Zora would cause a lot of big brains to think too hard to the point where they explode, because the moveset would be tough to figure out. They're not really fighting characters so much. But either way, I think they're cool enough to characters to be represented. Whether or not you go with this guy or a different Zora, I don't really care. But it would be neat to have a Zora. So, and look, while we're on the topic of Zoras, let's just add Gorons too. Honestly, I'd rather have Gorons than Zoras. If you only take one of these, put the Gorons in, okay? Because like I said, I like tanky characters. But also, I really like the design of Gorons. The one I chose specifically is the design from Twilight Princess, because they have like the paint on them and stuff like that. I don't know, they look baller. I like them a lot. You could go with a name-faced Goron such as Darius, I think his name, or Daruna, or something like that. One of the ones that starts with a D and has an A in it. You could go with the one from Majora's Mask, who's like a ghost, and he's like super sad because he's a ghost and stuff like that. There's a lot of interesting Goron characters you could choose. But if you also just want to go with a regular Goron, just a simple kind of Goron, please use the design from Twilight Princess. I love the Goron design from Twilight Princess. And also, Twilight Princess is what introduced Gorons as sumo fighters, which means you could draw a lot of inspiration in the moveset from Twilight Princess specifically. So I would love a Twilight Princess Goron, but any Goron would do, basically. The board is getting pretty full, but we're going to move on to the next character, and this one's probably going to be one of the biggest pipe dreams. It's one that a lot of people ask for, but it's not super likely. I'm personally okay with adding Master Chief if you're going to add 50 characters. Anyway, where did he even go? Oh, he's way the heck over here. Look, I was running out of room, okay? I was running out of room. Master Chief, he represents Halo, and Halo is undoubtedly a huge game in the industry and has a lot of influence, not just in people's lives, but also in many future games to come from it. I feel like if they've already crossed bridges with Microsoft before in adding Minecraft Steve, they could cross also to add a little bit of Master Chief. I don't know much about his character. I don't know much about what his moveset would be. I'm all for more gun characters though, and at this point in Ultimate, if you're getting in all these IPs anyway, imagine how hyped people would be if they added Master Chief. If I made this video back before Ultimate was out and it was all on Smash 4, so many of these characters I would not consider remotely even possible. But Ultimate, they're just like, bring them all in. Bring every character in. Piranha Plant, Byleth, Terry, Steve, Banjo, Cloud, just bring them all in. So, like, at this point, bring in Master Chief, okay? He's done his time. He's earned his right. You realize how many aliens this guy's killed? That's all for the sake of joining Smash, and they haven't even let him at the door. It's crazy. Crazy. Next up, this one's a very personal one to me. I have a lot of attachment to this character. I don't know if you guys even remotely feel the same way about me, but there's a lot of emotion with this character specifically. It goes back to my childhood. And that, of course, is Funky Kong from Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country 2 and Donkey Kong Country 3. What's kind of cool about Funky Kong is that he carries around a surfboard and he uses it as a baseball bat in Mario Super Sluggers, and he can also ride the waves. He's in Tropical Freeze. He's quite OP in Tropical Freeze, but I would just love to see Smash Bros. Go funky mode, and I have an emotional attachment to that. Obviously, I understand it's a lot to ask, and not everybody feels the way I do about Funky Kong, but I just, I wish every time I see a shooting star, which is quite often, every night, several times a night. I don't know why they always happen near airports, but every time I see a shooting star, I just wish, please, give me Funky. Put Funky in Smash. It's time. Moving on. All right, I'm going to warn you now. This one is a Metroid character, and it might feel like some Metroid bias to add, but let's go with the Space Pirate. Again, it can be a generic Space Pirate. I'm okay with that. If they added Piranha Plant, I know I keep using Piranha Plant as a scapegoat, but if you use something as generic as Piranha Plant, you can do something as generic as a Space Pirate. But also, Space Pirates really represent a huge part of Metroid and enemies that you fight in Metroid. I mean, there's a lot of variants of Space Pirates that you fight in similar ways that we do with regular Space Pirates. They got super cool music, and they got a sword, and they got a pistol. Mixing the sword and pistol, I've said it's for one or two other characters already. That'd be a cool combination. Smash, you gotta go heavier with the alternate costumes. I understand you like your alternate colors, but if we could get 3 alternate costumes for every character in addition to those 3 regular palette swaps, I think that'd be understandably awesome. And that's my sales pitch. Let's also just add another Metroid character real quick, which is Sylux. Now look, Sylux is actually probably a little bit more likely than Space Pirate. Again, I think I got the sizing off, but it's tough because it's a 2D image, but he's leaning forward, which makes him bigger, and I don't know how they adjust to that. Anyway, Sylux is a hunter in Metroid Prime Hunters. That's the only game that he's in. There's not a lot of footage of him, and he's a relatively insignificant part of the game. But I think it would be cool to represent one of the hunters in Metroid Prime Hunters or Metroid Prime 3. But I think of all the hunters from Metroid Prime 3 and Metroid Prime Hunters, Sylux might be the most interesting one, if not just because of the ending stuff surrounding him. But also in design, he's pretty neat. He's also considered like a rival of Samus. It's a stretch. It's a big old stretch. It's probably never going to happen. But if we are going to get more Metroid characters, let's get Sylux, okay? And Space Pirate, possibly. Oh boy, I am running out of breath, and there's still tons of characters. I hope you guys are having fun, because this is a lot of work. Let's go with Cat and Anna next, another assist trophy that's not actually in the assist trophy aisle, so that's cool. I've wanted Cat and Anna in the game after Brawl, and I've always loved their design and the fact that they both have katanas, and their name is literally Cat and Anna. I would just love to see an Ice Climber style characters, but with swords. I think that would really change the dynamic. I love the style of Ice Climbers, and it'd be cool to see more characters take that approach, and Cat and Anna is the obvious candidate for that. Obviously, Cat and Anna have been in a lot of WarioWare games at this point, and I'm a big fan of WarioWare, so I would actually love to see Cat and Anna in this game. Next up is Garaham from The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword and Skyward Sword HD. Now that Skyward Sword's been remade, there are going to be more people who've probably played it, and if there's one thing you should like about Skyward Sword, I mean, you can like whatever you want, I don't mean that in a serious way, but one of the most likable things about Skyward Sword is its world and characters. Garaham is no short of a fascinating character, who would also yield a very fascinating moveset. Obviously, you can see that he's throwing spikes right at us currently, like You Better Run, but also just the way his sword works, he'd probably take a similar approach to Fire Emblem, but I would love to see a way of parrying without using your shield, but parrying in a sword sense, like maybe deflecting them with your sword. Not necessarily super high priority, but just spacing yourselves out from each other, because that's what kind of happened in Skyward Sword. Whenever you get a villain in Zelda that has some feelings and emotion, gosh, it's really refreshing, because let me tell you, Ganondorf, I'm gonna be honest, he gets old. That's why characters like Zant end up just piquing some level of interest. But honestly, I think Garaham is more interesting than Zant, and I think he'd be a cool addition to Smash. Also, I believe he's a assist trophy, so he has a foot in already. Next up is Knuckles. Yeah. Do I need to explain it? Add Knuckles. Tails or Knuckles. I guess I could have put Tails or Knuckles. I don't really care which one. Knuckles is cool though. Add Knuckles. Moveset, Heck, I don't know, but it can't be worse than Sonic's moveset. That stuff is so lame. You can, even the Sonic mains, I think, would agree with me that the moveset could be more interesting than just rolling a ball for all of them. Maybe that's what Knuckles could do. Or maybe Knuckles could be an Echo Fighter. Honestly, I'm okay with that as well. But I think Knuckles deserves to be represented. All right. Next up, Super Gag. Super Gag. You guys better be ready for Super Gag, okay? Try to think and guess. In fact, leave a comment if you want. You could pause and leave a comment as to what gag character you think this is going to be, okay? Think outside the box. Here we go. You ready? Did you even see him appear? I'll zoom on him. You might be asking, Pat, is that Barbie Ken? No. That is a Sim from The Sims. I had to add 50 characters, okay? But what I do know is that The Sims has a lot of influence in the gaming industry. It has a lot of history. It's one of the, it's not just the most successful simulation lifestyle game, but it's also the simulation lifestyle game. Since its beginning, it's been paving the way for other simulation games. And it's done a great job at that. I can't believe I'm trying to sales pitch Sims into Smash. What year is this? Look, with regards to moveset, I just think it would be funny to use regular life move stuff. Maybe he just picks up a frying pan and hits somebody or something like that. Maybe he just like yells at someone like Sims do and that hurts them or something. This is close to number 50 on the list of characters I actually want. I really don't care if they add him. I don't even play Sims, but I was scratching my brain, okay? Next up, we actually have another gag character, who's kind of gag. I would say less gag than The Sims, but I think they should add Kuma from Tekken into Smash Brothers. I've played very little Tekken. In fact, I've probably only played one Tekken game my whole life, and that was probably for less than an hour. But I've seen a couple of videos online of it, and I've seen tournaments and stuff like that of people playing a Tekken. And whenever I find this bear, I can't take my eyes off the screen. The idea of a martial arts bear, it's been established I like heavy characters, but I also really like bears in video games. In Time Splitters, I would always play as a bear. If Time Splitters is more realistic, I would have picked Time Splitters bear over this one. But if they already got a Tekken character in, I'm okay with a second Tekken character, and I'm okay with that being the bear. Look at that bear. Freaking baller, dude. He's got the handkerchief and everything. Man, bring me Kuma. I want Kuma in Smash, okay? And of course, we've got the Flying Man from Earthbound, but also from Smash. Flying Man made his debut in the Smash Bros. 3DS version of the game, in which he was a stage hazard / boss. I think if they stuck with the pixel art design, it'd be really cool, but it would also be very fascinating to see what kind of 3D rendition you could do of Birdman, because he's never seen a 3D debut. The Earthbound series, who knows where that is right now, but it's down some kind of crapper with no new games. Most of his moves are already made in Smash. Maybe not most, but a lot of them. You just kind of build off that. Martial arts flying dude, maybe give him a third jump similar to Banjo, but have him be more brawl style, similar to brawler characters. I don't know. He'd be neat. I don't really care so much if you don't add him, but he would be neat. Next up, we got Doc Lewis. Honestly, I don't know what to say about him. He's a coach. He's not even a fighter. He's a coach. I think he might be a retired fighter. I don't even know Little Mac lore, but I see him in Smash in the background all the time. I love his voice lines in Smash 4 and possibly Ultimate. I don't actually know if he says much in Ultimate. If you don't want to add Doc Lewis, Sakurai, you could add one of the other Punch-Out brawlers dudes. I'm okay with that. But also, imagine a moveset where you're hitting people with a chocolate bar. That'd be kind of neat. So, I don't know. I'm okay with it. You okay with it, Sakurai, huh? Can we make a deal? Can we compromise here? I don't know. Even for top 50, he's kind of a stretch. But well, you know who's not a stretch? Actually, you know who is a stretch also? King Knight. We have Shovel Knight in this universe, okay? And in a universe where you have Shovel Knight, I would love to see King Knight in it as well. And it's not going to be the only Shovel Knight character I talk about, but the reason I brought up King Knight specifically is because I absolutely love his demeanor in the game. Again, anytime someone is unapologetically themselves with an absurd level of confidence, that's my jam. I feel like I can almost relate to that sometimes. And King Knight definitely just oozes that, and is also a very visually interesting character with movesets that's very distinct from Shovel Knight itself, which is so interesting because they're from the same game. Because you get to play as King Knight in one of the expansions of Shovel Knight. So you already got a lot of movesets built in because he has exclusive items to himself. Also, Shovel Knight has a mode similar to Smash Brothers in it. So they already have movesets for this character and the next one I'm going to talk about. I don't know when they show up, but I will talk about them at some point. But either way, Shovel Knight representation, it needs to happen in Smash, okay? Oh my gosh, we've got approximately 6 more. You guys ready? Mr. Skyrim, also known as Dragonborn. Look, it's very difficult to picture the Elder Scrolls being represented in Smash Brothers. But in an age of Ultimate, it is not super far off. And that's because Skyrim is an undoubtedly influential game. And also, it was very influential in just the open world genre in general. I mean, there are so many open world games that had to take notes from Skyrim because it had a lot of learning to do. Skyrim's also been on a Nintendo system, specifically one, the Nintendo Switch. So it's not super far off. They had Link in Skyrim. Can we have Skyrim in Smash Brothers? The name would have to be Dragonborn or something like that, I imagine. And with regards to skin changes, you could go with just simple armor swaps that you find from the Skyrim game, but you could also go a little bit deeper in adding possibly different races from the Skyrim universe. That would be super neat. Obviously, it's kind of a more dark, more gruesome game to be represented in Smash to some size. But if we already got freaking Bayonetta, honestly, the floodgates are open. And it definitely deserves to be celebrated. So give us Dovahkiin. Give us the Dragonborn. I see people talk about the no more sword fighter thing online all the time, and I genuinely don't understand it. What are the most common weapons in history? It's like you got guns and you got swords. What's wrong with adding more of that? It's like saying there's too many fists in Smash Brothers. Nah, it's just another fighting style. Why would you put a cap to that? I don't understand. Anyway, next up is going to be Ditto. Definitely a gag character. Can you even see him? I put him way up here. I don't know why. I was just like, Ditto's probably chilling way the heck off from other people and doesn't even realize that he's being socially awkward by doing so. This would throw a wrench in competitive play, I'm quite sure. But what if Ditto could turn into a character that they're fighting? It would just be fascinating. Similar to how Kirby can suck them up and steal one move, Ditto can take all of them. Ditto takes all the moves. Maybe he takes on 20% of damage also, though, to kind of suffice for that or something like that. This character could have no room in competitive play. It's possible people would even ban him if he's too OP or just be too wonky to be included or be too frustrating to other people. But it would be kind of neat to have Ditto who transforms into other characters. That's the only moveset I got. Ditto can't even jump. I don't know how they would do that. Doesn't make sense to add Ditto. But let's add Ditto, because I have to add 50 characters, okay? Next up is Specter Knight, which, like I said earlier, there is going to be another Shovel Knight character, and that is Specter Knight. Specter Knight also has an incredibly different kind of move style than Shovel Knight, but was still featured in the Smash Brothers style game of Shovel Knight, thus has his own moveset, and of course his own items and his own history. Specter Knight has actually a pretty dark character history, and I think it's always cool to bring characters with interesting backgrounds into the world of Smash. Because you get to learn more about characters through Smash, and what more do you want to learn about a character than their interesting backstory, right? Yes, that would be 3 Shovel Knight reps, which back in the day would be considered a large level of representation, but if we're talking about 120 or 30 Smash Brothers characters, 3 is nothing, okay? We can have 3 Shovel Knight characters, and they'd all be different too. They don't have to be echoes, they literally can be their own thing, and that's what makes them great. All right, we got 3 more characters, and they're all gag characters, okay? So pretty far-fetched. Next one is none other than Bulborb. You could go 2 directions with this. You could either go the small dinky Bulborbs from Pikmin that you throw Pikmin on and kill them, or you could do the giant Bulborbs, which kill you and all of your Pikmin. If you've seen a Bulborb before, and you haven't played Pikmin, it's probably from the Smash Pikmin stage where there's a giant Bulborb that eats people. It doesn't need to be that big, okay? That's just in the world of Pikmin where you are that tiny. So it could be a pretty cool heavy character, but also a small little character running around on 2 legs. I think you could make an interesting moveset. I just like Pikmin, and more Pikmin representation would be cool. But even I know this is way too much to ask for. But let's move on. Let's ask for more while we're at it. Next up is I cannot believe I'm going to say these words, but representation from Team Fortress 2 known as Scout. Right there. Team Fortress 2 has never been in any Nintendo console, and it directly helps Nintendo's competitors by representing him on Smash Brothers. But if you're adding 50 characters and it's a video game celebration piece, Team Fortress 2 is actually a relatively influential game on the online gaming community. With regards to online first-person shooting casual play, Team Fortress 2 is probably the most influential piece, bringing out many clones afterwards. Not clones, but just similar genre games thanks to Team Fortress 2. But what Team Fortress 2 really has going for it is its extremely charming characters. They've actually done something similar to Smash, which is just adding cinematic videos that introduces who the characters are, just like the cinematics that we see when they introduce new Smash Brothers characters. So I feel like a Scout would work pretty well in the universe of Smash, and it would adapt pretty nicely to a moveset. I was thinking like Heavy or Spy or something like that, or Medic, Pyro. I feel like Scout competes as one of the most iconic characters. I think he's actually the first character in the lineup, that and Heavy. But Heavy's tough. I just don't know if Sakurai wants to put a minigun in Smash. That's the real reason I was like, let's stick with the Scout, okay? It seems a little bit more likely. But also, you can get some cool movesets, jumps around, a dexterity-based shooter that also has a baseball bat. Absolutely a gag character that will never happen. But if I'm adding 50, by golly, I'm including a few gags. So, the very last character, and I'm ready to show him to you guys. But first, I just want to say thank you guys for making it this far. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took a lot of time to make and find images for all these characters and put them all in a Photoshop document, and of course, line them up and try to get the sizes right. The preparation for this video was a lot longer than it should have been. So I'd really appreciate if you guys would like and subscribe, and you could also check out the video where I cut out the other Smash characters, 41 of them, if you haven't seen that already. So that's my little plug. And now I'm going to reveal the last character. Let's see if you even see where it pops up right here. And I will zoom in so you can see it. Of course, Tetris. Tetris for Smash. That's going to do it for this video. Let me zoom out to the final product. Here it is. These are the characters I want to add. They fill up the space. Had to readjust it several times. That is 50 characters added to Smash Brothers. Will they ever stop? I don't know. Thanks for watching. Let me know who you would have added and who you definitely would not have added from this list, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. So long.